Now to the point that we were making earlier about the possibility of the DEPB scheme being withdrawn and what impact it could have on two-wheeler stocks which have got effective today. Rajiv Bajaj joins in to clarify that. Rajiv, if indeed the DEPB scheme were to be withdrawn, what kind of impact would it have on your earnings, you think?
Hi, Udayan. The impact, of course, would be significant because our exports are almost $1 billion a year. But having said that, permit me to just dwell on, how these things have panned out in recent years. This is not new. Every year we hear around April that the Finance Ministry may consider toning down or in some way discontinuing the scheme, but eventually the Commerce Ministry does understand how important it is to support exporters, specifically in terms of automobiles and especially two-wheelers or motorcycles, I would say. China is very aggressive on this front, and there the DEPB in fact is even, the export benefit is even higher, in double digits, sometimes closer to 13-15%. So in the face of that, it's never quite happened so far. In fact, the reality is that in recent years, DEPB has actually been increased a little bit from say 7% to 9% overall, and has also been there's also been some special DEPB extended for specific countries, all in an effort to encourage exports and given what competing countries are doing. So frankly, I would be very surprised if this news were actually true.
Have you had any communication from the Commerce Ministry, or have you made any representation to the Commerce Ministry to ensure that the DEPB is not withdrawn? Because this is just a media article that we are reacting to, on the basis of which some stock reactions have taken place. But are you privy to anything about what's going on in Delhi?
Not specifically, I can tell you that explicitly. In fact, I heard of it this morning only from your channel, but I'm not surprised in the sense that, as I said, every year this issue comes up for discussion. I'm not suggesting it's just an academic discussion, but at the same time, in recent years it's always been resolved in favor of supporting exporters, and in that sense I would be surprised if that doesn't happen this year as well.
Hi Rajiv, morning. Where are export profitability levels at for Bajaj Auto right now, and assuming this is removed, what kind of impact would it have on your profitability for your export side?
I wouldn't like to get into export profitability specifically, Mitali, but I can tell you this: if the company's EBITDA is 20%, the export EBITDA is no different. It's largely the same, and hence if it's around 20% and the average DEPB is 8 to 9%, depending on which country one is talking about, that's half the money we make in exports, and that would be true for any exporter of small cars or motorcycles out of India. And if we are speaking about India becoming a global hub for bikes and small cars, then this would obviously be a very detrimental step, especially since the rupee is stronger at 44 or so, and because the domestic market is somewhat slowing down.
Okay, H.S. Goindi of TVS Motors joins in as well on that subject. Mr. Goindi, morning. I don't know if you were listening in on what Rajiv had to say about the DEPB issue. Have you any other words, sir, on whether or not there will actually be a withdrawal of this, and what kind of impact would it have on TVS Motors' own performance?
Morning. See, I don't want to talk about will be withdrawal or not withdrawal. I think we are in a competitive world. We are fighting around with China and other countries are concerned. This DEPB extension would definitely help the Indian industry to be competitive in the marketplace. And, we just can't have a situation where rupee will appreciate, the export benefit will be withdrawn, growth will not be there, then obviously the productivity and the industrial production will not be there. So we strongly feel that the DEPB extension should be there. I think it makes sense in fighting in the marketplace. We are promoting the Indian brands abroad, and in the industrial productions are concerned.
Have you worked out any numbers, Mr. Goindi, on how much the impact could be if indeed there was some kind of dilution or withdrawal of the scheme?
See, we have our numbers as to suppose it is withdrawn, how much we can pass on the customers, what will happen to competitiveness. So we have worked out our sensitive scenarios. Not that we do not have. It's a case of let the actual number comes out, and then we'll see the actual impact on us and how do we marginalize the impact. Having said that, I think the important thing is the extension of DEPB is required because we are fighting with Chinese and other people in the marketplace. If those countries can also be asked to withdraw all these things. We have no problem because it's a then a flat world, and we work around freely with all the other countries are concerned. So the impact of on our margins, other things, definitely we have our scenario plan done there. The actual data we can share once we have the actual details on DEPB.
Rajiv, you had very good April numbers, but we just heard a very circumspect Ashok Leland talking about such high interest rates actually crimping demand a lot. Have you seen or any evidence of demand slowing down at all from anecdotal evidence?
No, certainly it's more than anecdotal, Uday, and I will tell you specifically this, that in the retail terms, our motorcycle retails from last April to this April month, for the same month of the 2 years, is up exactly 15%. Now, we are not complaining because, as I said yesterday, 15% is good in absolute terms. Also, since the end of April, we've seen greater traction, and we are looking at over 20% growth in May. So, I'm not concerned at all about domestic retail right now, domestic growth right now, but it's certainly slower than previous years. Now it could be, as usually happens, that first the commercial vehicles slow down and then it's the cars. That certainly happened for cars, I think, and then eventually it may catch up with motorcycles. But as of now, I am very happy with the way the domestic market is. But certainly that is not to say that there is so much cushion there that we can afford some disruption on the export front. I fully agree with what Mr. Goendy just said.
Mr. Goendy, you want to comment on that point about domestic sales though, given what happened yesterday? Are you bracing yourselves now for a significant slowdown in volume offtake?
See, as Mr. Rajiv Bajaj said, definitely the slowdown in the growth is there. There's still every month the numbers are being added up. Last year, if I look at it, about 250,000 numbers are being added up every month on an average. This year also, I feel about 200 to 250,000 numbers of two-wheelers will be added up every month. That clearly means the growth rate will be about 14-15% this year. Last quarter, the growth rate was about 20% two-wheeler industry. This quarter, we feel will be about 14-15% on a higher base. So that extent, yes, we can't be in a paradise saying that every year the growth rate will be 25-30%. Having said that, this growth rate itself is good enough. There will be more competition in that is concerned. As Mr. Bajaj said, definitely if CV industry is feeling the a little bit of slowdown, then it will affect the car industry. Whatever results came out of the car industry yesterday, it will affect the two-wheeler at some point of time. But two-wheeler is also a need-based requirement. So to that extent, we'll have to watch out how much growth will come down. For us, as we said earlier, we are projecting for ourselves 14-15% growth this year, and that's what we maintain that.
Thank you, gentlemen, both of you, for joining in on that. So for now, the automakers say there is no final word on that DEPB scheme extension getting cancelled, so they will hold out for a formal comment. Those stocks should come up for you. TVS Motor still down 5.5%. Bajaj Auto was down about that much, and that is down 4.5%. Another sector